Hello, and welcome to New Beginnings Start Today, the podcast for people who want to grow deeper in their faith in the Lord. I'm your host, Dr. Douglas Keffer, a minister, licensed clinical pastoral counselor in Roanoke, Virginia, with a passion for helping people to live their faith. Today, we will talk about life changes every day and how you can trust that living in Christ will allow you to meet those changes with optimism. Let's get started. Most of us are familiar with the old saying, nothing ever stays the same. The longer I live and look at what is happening around me, I believe that saying more and more. What goes on in our lives each day demands that we are able to make adjustments to the things that we have no or very little control over. One great example of this is the price of gasoline. When I was just starting to drive, the cost of gasoline was around 20 cents. And today, a gallon is over $3. That is a huge change. My wife and I bought fresh sweet corn at the grocery store the last time we shopped, and it was 50 cents an ear. I remarked to my wife that I sold a dozen of corn for 50 cents when I was 8 or 9 years of age as we grew a huge garden. I remember carrying that basket that had the corn and the peppers and the tomatoes in it, and our customers were so happy to see us every week during the growing season. Times have changed, and I don't see young people wa- walking up and down our streets wanting to sell produce they have raised in their gardens. Most young people today have never gone out into a garden spot and planted anything because times have changed that drastically. The Apostle Paul was writing to the Christians in the great city of Corinth, talking about what had changed in their lives since they had accepted Jesus as Lord and Master of their lives. These were people who lived in a culture that was very immoral and corrupt. He wanted them to know that the changes that had taken place in their lives were going to have eternal benefits. Listen to the confidence he shared with them when he wrote, "Therefore, do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. He encourages them first not to lose heart. For them, this new way of life was very demanding, that they had come away from things and were practicing every day that were an abomination to God. They had to deal with the social pressures of their friends, not understanding why they no longer wanted to engage in the immoral practices that were so a common way of life, such as the sex orgies that took place at their temples. It didn't make any difference who they had sex with while they were there because sex was a form of worship for them. Hard to imagine? There is the same mindset going on today with the amount of couples who give no thought of having sex outside of their marriage is sinful. The number of couple swapping clubs that are in your area would blow your mind. look at the evening news and see the things that are going on that are against God's plan for us to live according to His will for our lives. I want us to hear what Paul is saying. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. This principle is so true. Each day we are a day closer to leaving this world. That is a reality that each of us has to understand because the aging process is happening to us every day. It is interesting that all of the products that are available today to slow down that aging process has turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry. People do not want to face that they are getting older and that it takes its toll on us physically and mentally. I know at my age, I am not able to do the things physically that I was able to do when I was in my 20s. My brain has a very hard time with that fact, but my body is saying to my brain, slow down. Getting older physically is a natural process that all of us face. The other side of what Paul is saying is that because of our relationship with Jesus, we are being renewed inwardly day by day. We have the ability to be refreshed every day because of our faith in what we believe God is doing in our lives through our relationship with Him and His Son Jesus. This means that you are growing in your faith every day because you set and have a devotional life that allows you to learn more about how you are to live according to what His word teaches you. You have joy in your heart because you set aside a time to go to God every day in prayer, asking Him to fill your life with His blessings so that you can share those blessings with your family and all those whom you come in contact with. I want you to learn how to see the effect living for Jesus has on those family members and friends who do not walk with the Lord. They hear a different kind of speech and see a different kind of priority that you have in how you spend your money and how you spend your time. They know that you are different, and the way that you live from day to day can make them want the same kind of joy. That renewal also allows you to face the obstacles that Satan throws at you every day, and you can have victory over them. Listen again to how Paul talks about the obstacles we face day in and day out. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. 2 Corinthians 4:17. He calls our troubles light and momentary. And that is exactly what they are when we look at them as what we deal with in our day in that context. I'm not saying that the hard things that we have to deal with are not hard. Many of them are. But what Paul is saying is that those hard things that we face daily are the way of us being able to look at the reward that awaits us beyond this life. I have had to help many people with the hard struggles this world throws at them. I am thinking about the woman who had a very important position with a company that she worked for. She dreaded going home because she knew that when she got home, she would find her husband drinking because of the addiction he had to alcohol. This became so unbearable, they divorced, and she thought that she would never be happy again. After some time, God sent a man into her life that gave her a reason to believe that she could be happy again and love a man as she wanted to love her first husband. I had the privilege to marry this couple, and they have lived happily for many years because of their faith that God has been giving them every day and rewarding their faith in His love and care. We want to learn that facing our troubles in the context that we are allowing us to achieve an eternal glory that outweighs them all is truly a wonderful way to live that is real. There are so many things that you have to deal with every day that seems that there has no end to the junk that wants to steal your belief that things can be better. It's the little things that keep coming up and they cause you a frustration that is so hard to overlook. I'm talking about when you go to your vehicle and are ready to go to work and the vehicle won't start. Oh, great. Now I'm going to be late for work and I can just hear Sally rub it in that I am late again, is what runs through your mind. Then there is the time you are getting everything ready to bake those delicious chocolate chip cookies that everybody raves about to find that someone has eaten all your chocolate chips. How could this happen, you wonder? Friends, I could go on and on about those things that cause you to be frustrated, that leads to being angry. But listen to what Paul says about these things, of these kinds of situations we find ourselves in nearly daily when he wrote, "So fix our eyes on not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." 2 Corinthians 4:18. Paul says we have to be able to see the bigger picture and to learn to look at the eternal side of life. The things we see are really just temporary when we understand that we are eternal beings and must focus on what lies ahead of us. We cannot see the pearly gates, the streets of gold, or the walls of jasper that John talks about that depict heaven. But I know that what we are going to experience is far more beautiful than all of that. More importantly, is that what lies ahead of us in the reward of living for Jesus is eternal. This allows us to see the things that changes in our lives every day seem more manageable in the whole scheme of life. I want to encourage each of you listening to this to believe you can fix your eyes on what is not seen and believe what Paul says when he wrote, "However, as it is written, who no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind can conceive, the things God has prepared for those who love him. These are the things God has revealed to us by his Spirit." 1 Corinthians 2, verses 9 and 10. He was quoting the prophet Isaiah in chapter 64 rather, and verse 4. You are going to have to deal with the changes that come in your life every day, but those changes do not have to be a source of irritation that does not allow you to see the eternal things that are promised to you in Christ Jesus. Thank you for listening to this episode. And I want to invite you to contact me and share how you are learning to deal with those everyday irritations in light of the beautiful eternal things promised to you? Answer this question. How does knowing that we have such wonderful things to look forward to in heaven cause you to deal with the temporary stuff of today differently? If you're listening to this on YouTube, please click the subscribe button and the like button. Also, click on the share button and share it with all your friends. That would be so helpful to me. Tell me about other issues that you would like me to address by leaving your comments. And you can email me at drdouglaskeffer@gmail.com. Until next time, God bless each of you.